counselors, because we'll be back here on the 14th and the 15th, and we're going to see some of your courses, and we're going to look at it and say, we need to adjust this because you're in this math class. This is a math class that you go to. Or we need to adjust this because this is what you're planning on doing. This is what you do. Or some of you may choose an elective that you audition or interview for. So you're going to get on that list, and we may need to change your elective course. So there'll be a lot of changes happening up until that time, but you have control over it until the 11th. So you can fill out this form, and you have up to the 11th, March 11th at midnight. You can go in there and change it every day, every hour, every minute, as many times as you want. But no, don't sit there in your next period or in your class working on this. That's not what we want you to do. But each evening you can go home and you can make changes, meet with your parents, and go over that each evening that you want to do. March 14th and 15th, you're all going to meet individually with your counselor. We're going to come here, or not with a counselor. I don't want to say with your counselor. You're going to meet individually with a counselor, and then we're going to review those forms. Not a time to go through it again and change it. We're just going to review that everything's correct, that you do have the right math class, you have the right science class, you have chosen 3 different elective options when we get down to that elective choices. And then you'll sign, we'll verify, we'll put it aside, and everything is good. 2 more dates I want you to remember. August 22nd, that's registration for you. So that's when you'll be on campus. All incoming 9th graders, you'll get your books, you'll get your locker, you'll get your iPad. Not many books, because you just don't get many books anymore because everybody gets an iPad. You'll get your lockers, you'll take your photo, you'll get your ID, you'll get all those things set so you're ready to start school that next week on August 28th. So again, if you're planning summer vacations, make sure you're back in town by August 22nd, because that's registration, and school starts on August 28th. All right? You have this in front of you. All this information is on the website. You can always go back and refer to that, but those are some of those important dates and that information that's coming out for you.
All right. Good morning. If you would please have your iPads out and navigate to Claremont High School webpage, and we'll show you all the resources that we have for you to help you plan your high school year starting next year, 9th grade. So you're going to go to Claremont High School, and you should see Claremont High School, upper left. Anybody need help, raise your hand. We'll help you. Are we good? All right, so your screen should say Claremont High School. The website has a lot of information. So you can see information about academics on the top right tab. You can see athletics. Those of you who are excited about all the sports in high school, athletics has their own tab. There are programs at Claremont High School that you can scroll through. For the purposes of today, we are going to show you the counseling pages, because that's where we keep information about planning your 9th grade year and also summer school. So if we're all at the CHS website, please go to where it says Counseling and Career Department. That little picture there, 2 people talking at a desk, that is the Counseling and Career Department. And if you would click that, it'll take you to the CHS Counseling Department pages. Are we all there? We're good? Okay. All right. So here is the welcome to the counseling pages, and we want you to get comfortable with Claremont High School. Today in this class, we are going to help you choose some classes for next year, but this form that you're choosing from you can go back to it as many times as you want between now and midnight on March 11th so that you can finalize your choices. We know that you need to talk to your mom and dad. We know that you're going to talk to your friends about what they're thinking about. Maybe you get ideas. We want you to come to open house tomorrow night at Claremont High School so you can get more information about some of the electives. Electives like choir, theater, arts, other elective opportunities. Maybe you want to see it. You've got electives fair coming here Friday at El Roble. You're going to learn more about all your electives. So this form that we're going to go through in a few minutes allows you to go back every single day if you want, 10, 20 times a day if you need, to make changes to the plans that we talk about today. Summer school is available. We'll come to summer school near the end of this classroom presentation, but there is a summer school option for you, your rising ninth graders. Next, if you'll go a little bit lower on the page, and you are going to click on the class of 2028. That is who you guys are. So please choose class of 2028, and a new information sheet comes up for you. We are here today in your classroom presenting information about planning ninth grade. The webinar for tonight at 6 o'clock is linked here. We encourage you so much to attend tonight's webinar. Information about course selection, information about getting ready for diploma, your options for MYP, your options for college and career readiness will be discussed. Tomorrow is open house. Electus Fair is Friday. All of that information is there at a glance. The course selection form that we're going over next closes March 11th, and we'll come back, as we said, March 14th and 15th will be in your freshman PE classes. We will meet with each of you with your final submitted requests to make sure they make sense and are the best plan for you for ninth grade. So next, the webinar link is listed here, the webinar slides, that will be posted tomorrow, the webinar slides. We are taping this meeting here, so the classroom presentation meeting will be also posted by tonight or tomorrow morning. But if we could please go to the course selection form.
Prior to going there, I just
Sure.
want to highlight some things, because for all of you, your English, your math, your science, your PE, most of you will be taking a world language. That's already predetermined. You're not going to have many options from that. But you will have a lot of options in the areas of electives. So if you want to know more about those electives, we already talked about attending open house tomorrow, correct? We already talked about the elective fair coming back, or coming on March 8th. But here is another resource, CHS Electives Catalog. If you click on that, it's going to break it down by subject area, and all of our electives will be listed there. It will give you a short description of the elective, if there's any prerequisites, any interviews, auditions required to be in that elective course, and what grade levels are available, or that elective course is open to. So again, when you're going back and you're talking about making those changes, hopefully you're going and you're looking at this, not just hearing what your friends or siblings might have to say about elective course, because this is for you and it's unique for you, and you're different from everyone else. So don't just hear take the information that you hear out there, really go through and really research it. But that's an excellent place to go to get additional information about those elective courses. And we can show you that afterwards. We just want to make sure we have that time to get through this form with you as well.
Okay. So let's click on where it says course selection form, please, here together. And this will take you to the course selection form. That opening page, it said I'd already submitted. That's what you're going to see when you come back to this form to make changes, if you want to make changes after today. And here is the form. The form is going to ask you some questions, and this form is used when you use your CUSD iPad. This form will not be able to open if you're using like the home computer at home. It has to be with a CUSD device like your iPad. This form works perfectly with that. Here's some resources about course selection. Under course selection resources, you can learn more about prerequisites. Prerequisites might be a new term for some of you, but high school classes sometimes have prerequisites. For example, you cannot take chemistry until you finish biology. Biology is a prereq for chemistry. Other courses have a prerequisite like theater. You can't do musical theater unless you have an audition. And we'll show you how to look for that when you're making your choices. We will offer summer school at Claremont High School. There is a separate summer school link that we showed you a minute ago. We'll go back to that shortly. If you have an IEP, just know that your case carrier here at El Roble We'll work with you and your family to review the course requests for 9th grade to make sure it's consistent with what is best for you. Here is our turn to start putting information on this form. Please enter your school ID number where it says ID number. That is your El Roble ID number. So go ahead and enter that in, please. That number stays with you next year at Claremont High School. All right, next, we ask for your last name. So please enter your last name on the form. And make sure it's your last name because this form will be printed and then distributed to the Alpha counselor at Claremont High School so that we have your form when we come back on the 14th and 15th to meet with you. We want to have you know your last name to put you in the correct counselor's notebook and your first name. So last name, first name, and then your phone number. It can be your parents' phone number. It can be yours. A handy way for us to be able to reach you if there is a concern about your schedule. Are we all in the same place? Please don't go too far ahead. We want to be able to answer all your questions as they come up. All right, the next question says, I wish to prepare for the following. And there are some options there. Please mark the box that is true for you. If you're not sure and you want to do all 3 boxes, go ahead. It becomes a starting point for you and your counselor at the high school to kind of know what your goals are so we can help you get there. Because we're going to be spending 4 years together in high school, and we want to make sure we know where you want to be when June of 2028 is there, so you have as many options as possible. So I'm going to mark all 3 boxes here in this example. The next question is asking if you wish to play sports at Claremont High School. How many of you are excited about sports at high school? All the teams that we offer. Put those hands up nice and high. That's awesome. All right, we offer so many sports at the high school. Mr. Anderson, quick rundown of the sports they can look forward to.
Yeah, I always say we have 3 seasons of sports: fall, winter, spring. So there's the various sports offered during the fall, the winter, and spring. One thing you want to keep in mind if you're a fall sports at the high school are a little bit different than sports at the middle school. It goes into from being a seasonal commitment to almost a year-long commitment. If you're only playing one sport, you can play multiple sports and you go from that to that. But keep in mind if you're playing a fall sport. So I always recommend going onto the website, going under athletics, bringing up the fall season, seeing what sports are offered, bringing up the winter season, seeing what sports are offered, and bringing up the spring season, seeing what sports are offered. Because your fall sports, most fall sports are going to start their first game before you even start school. We are a late start district, August 28th. If you're playing football, you're running cross country. If you're playing girls tennis, if you're playing volleyball, you're probably going to have a game before you even start school. What does that mean? You're going to have a tryout during the summer. You don't want to miss that tryout because if you come August 28th and win our tryouts and it's a fall sport, it's going to be like tryouts happen during the summer. They're like 4 games into their season. You're going to have to wait till next season for that sport. So keep in mind, if you're a fall sport, you want to get that information now. Go on to the website, see if it's a fall sport, and you want to be available for tryouts during the summer. Your practice is going to start early summer, probably sometime mid-July, and they're going to have tryouts right sometime before that. So again, it's important to know what you may be interested in and when that season of sport is. If it's a winter sport, you'll have a little bit more time. If it's a spring sport, you'll have a little bit more time. But a lot of those sports programs, I coach basketball, we have a summer league. Even though it's a winter sport, we play during the summer and there's training during the summer. So again, you want to go and get that information ahead of time, and there's a clearance process with that. But we offer a lot of sports, and we're even adding one additional sport this year, which is girls flag football, which will be the first season that it's going to be the fall this year as well.
All right. So in the example here, the question, what sports do you plan to participate with? I put in swim and water polo. So if you can put in something you're interested in or planning to do, hoping to do, this is your opportunity to let us know at Claremont High. The next question is about the middle years program at Claremont High School. Can I see with your hands how many of you are currently in MYP middle years program here? Okay, great, thank you. We do offer middle years program at Claremont High School. If you wish to continue with MYP next year, you can, and you would put yes. You can also start MYP at Claremont High School in 9th grade if you wish, and you can indicate yes that way also to start. You also have the option to say no to MYP for next year or to end MYP at the end of 8th grade. Your choice, but the buttons have, you know, the corresponding decision with it. There is an MYP course planner on this site too that you can see what the MYP requires. And the MYP basically has a requirement of a social science elective, like ethnic studies is the recommendation for MYP as your social science, as well as you're encouraged to be in a world language. However, if you're in AVID or in special education, you do not have to take a world language for MYP, but the elective for social science is recommended and required for MYP next year. But here's a course planner information. And again, it's a planner. It's not a substitute for the form that we just navigated off briefly. It's just to help you plan for MYP.
So this form should mirror the course request form that we're going over now. They should look identical. So again, that's just to help you plan, and then you transfer that information over to this form here.
All right. So next question is selecting your start time at Claremont High School. Claremont High School has an early start time at 7:25, or you can choose to start school at 8:30. And we expect students to take 6 classes in freshman year. So either, regardless of your start time and end time, that is a 6-period day for you. So Claremont High School, 6 periods in 9th grade year. For some of you, there is an option to do 7 classes if you need to or want to. Like if you want to do MYP and you'd like to have an extra elective, you can have 7 classes. You're an AVID, you want to have an extra elective, you can do 7 classes, but the typical is 6. So please select your start time for next year.
If you select the 0-period start time, just remember it's not guaranteed. Year to year, we don't know how many offerings we're going to have 0-period and how much space, but if you select that, we attempt to try to get you that 0-period start time, but just want to let you know that it's not guaranteed that you can get that 0-period start time.
All right. Next year, you will be in English. So please mark English there. Just fill in that bubble by freshman English. All of you will also need to be in math next year. So you will be choosing your math class based on your current math class in 8th grade and your grade in 8th grade math. So some of you, most of you are Math 8. And if you're doing well, C or better in Math 8, you would follow the green arrow because that says passing. And you would choose Math 1, Integrated Math 1 for 9th grade. If you are struggling in Math 8 and you're getting D's and F's, there are different math options for 9th grade. You can select that on your form, but know that your grades in math in June will be looked over to make sure they are consistent with the proper math for next year. We look at your grades in math to ensure proper placement for math when school starts. How many of you are in Math 8 Integrated 1, the combo class? 8 Integrated Math, Math 8 Integrated 1. Anybody? Okay. If you're in Math 1 and doing well, you would choose Math 2. See that green arrow going from Math 1 to Math 2? And if you're in Integrated Math 1/2, you would choose 2/3 next year.
The question always comes up, can I skip? You are not allowed to skip math levels. If you are in 8 and you're looking to accelerate to the 1-2 combo class, there will be a placement test in those situations where you can go to the accelerated path, but you cannot skip. For example, you can't go from 1 to 3 or 8 to 2 and skip that level 1. So there's no skipping, but from here to accelerate where you're still getting the 1 and 2, that can be done with a placement test. So please select the appropriate next course. And then if you have any questions about accelerating or any of that with math, talk to your counselor when you meet with them individually, and they will guide you with what's possible in those math situations.
Okay, so for this example here, I'm currently in Math 8. I'm doing well. I'm choosing Math 1 for next year at Claremont High School. So I have filled in Math 1. Put in the math that is most accurate for you based on what we've just talked about. And then science. Everyone will take science next year. What you take for science, you have a choice between physical science or next gen bio, will depend on your math. So the rule is if you will be in integrated math 1 or higher next year, 9th grade, please choose biology for your 9th grade science, next generation biology. If you will be in a class like 1A or math readiness because you're struggling in Math 8, then you would choose physical science. Both science classes fulfill the diploma requirement, but Math 1 students should be in biology next year. If you're in Math 1 or higher next year, please choose biology. Are there any questions on that? No questions? Okay, let's move on. Everybody takes PE in 9th grade, so please fill in that bubble where it says physical education. And we have just chosen English, math, science, and PE. Those are 4 mandatory classes that you have as a 9th grader. Okay, you have 2 more periods or 2 more classes we're helping you choose courses for. So moving on, if you want to take a world language next year, and you're encouraged to do so, I want you to know that Claremont High School, offers French, German, and Spanish at the high school. If you're currently in German or in Spanish here at El Roble, you can continue your world language learning at the high school and move on to the next level. You're in year 1, choose year 2, talk to your world language teacher what their recommendation is. If you want to take French at the high school, you can take French next year. If you want to change world languages, you've been in German, but you want to try Spanish next year, you can do that. You have that option. But you're also invited to continue learning in that world language that you've started here. There is something called Heritage Speakers, Spanish Heritage Speakers 1. That's a unique class we offer at the high school. And that is for students who have learned Spanish outside of school. Maybe you've lived in a country where they speak Spanish and you've learned Spanish that way, or you've learned Spanish at home. You can hear, respond, and speak in Spanish. You might be eligible and want to take Heritage Spanish Speakers 1 next year because you're more advanced. If you're ready for Heritage Speakers 1, you would take Heritage Speakers 2 in 10th grade, and then you'd be ready for AP or IB Spanish in junior year. So it's a way to accelerate because you already have some of that fluency in Spanish. You can respond, you can hear, listen, speak You may not be able to read and write so much, and that's where the Heritage 1 class would help, would be with the writing piece in Spanish. If you don't want to take a world language next year, you don't have to. And you would choose the bubble there on the very bottom. If you're doing MYP, you are encouraged to do a world language unless you're an AVID. You don't have to do world language in MYP if you're an AVID, although you can. And if you have an IEP, you don't have to do a world language in order to do MYP. All right. The next question says alternate world language. And this is the case if, in my example here, I chose French 1 for next year, and I really just want French. I don't want German. I don't want Spanish. So I'm not going to answer the alternate world language. But if you were open to taking French next year and you chose French, but you'd be okay with Spanish or German, this is where you could say, okay, I have a second runner-up language. So the alternate world language, only complete that if you really could live with a different world language than the initial choice above. Okay.
And I always say, keep in mind when you're choosing an alternate, when you're choosing a world language, we really are asking you to commit to 2, recommended 3, and sometimes 4 years of that same world language. So make sure you're okay with, you know what, I'm not just going to try it. I really want to commit to completing a minimum of 2 years of that world language if you're choosing it as an alternate.
All right. So if you've chosen a world language for next year, there is one more class that we're helping you plan for next year, that 6th class. And this is your other elective. So here on this form, it says choose your electives. And we want unique electives, meaning that for your primary elective choice, you're going to scroll through all of these elective options, and we want you to choose that one elective that is most important to you. So we're going to choose one today, but we know you want to come back to this form in the days and hours ahead and make changes to these electives based on what you hear at the electives fair, what you see maybe tomorrow night at open house. We want you to be aware that some courses have an audition or an interview. And like if you look at theater production, the I means that there is a audition for that class. Some other classes, like if you want to work on the school newspaper, would have, this gets kind of glitchy sometimes. Sorry, guys. I'm going to put Coronova as my first primary elective here. And for my second choice, I'm asking for Intro to Video Production. That's my second runner-up. It's a class I could be happy with if I didn't get Coronova that has an audition. And for my third choice, I'm going to say guitar. Guitar does not have an audition, doesn't have an I by it, and it's open to students regardless of experience level. For beginning to, if you know how to play the guitar, you can still take the guitar class. The next box says, asks for an acknowledgement, and you mark that, and then you can hit submit. If you could all please hit submit, that way I can show you how this form works to make edits at any time, as many edits as you need or want in the next week.
And just want to remind you, again, because this is probably the biggest mistake or problem that occurs is when we're looking at electives. Make sure there are 3 different elective choices, 3 choices you would be happy with. Because we would love for 100% of you 9th graders going in, you getting your first choice elective. But I'm just going to be honest with you, it's not going to happen. Some of you will get your second choice. Some of you will get your third choice. But we try and we work hard to make sure you get one of those 3. But a lot of you will not get your first choice. Some of you may not get your second choice. And we will work hard to make sure if you don't get 1 or 2 that you get 3. So again, we want you to really look at that 3 different options and choose something that you really, really, really would be enjoy being enrolled in as an elective.
We want you to have those classes you look forward to. It's really important, and we want to try to get it right for you. So if you hit submit, how many of you hit submit? Raise your hands. Awesome. Okay. So you saw that you got your confirmation of your submission. You can either hit edit your response or say tonight, after you go home and you talk to your parents and you attend tonight's webinar, you want to make some changes, you can. You would go back to Claremont High School Counseling Department. You would go back to class of 2028, and you would go back to the course selection form, and you would go back to edit your response because it's going to reopen it. And what would you like me to change? You want me to change my world language? I chose French. Should I do German? What do you think? Should I make that change today with you? Let me show you how it works. So it goes through the whole form, and you get to the question that or the response you want to change. I had French. I talked to my friends. We want to do German. So I'm changing it to German here, and I'll hit next. And I'm still okay with the elective choices. I still really want to try out for Cora Nova choir, and I'm still happy with these other electives. Your change will be made if you hit submit. But until you hit submit, nothing really changes. So hitting submit now changed my world language from French to German. Okay, and if I go back tomorrow or next Friday after your electives fair, you can come back to this and change it. We know you're going to have discussions with your family, your friends. This form can be edited up until midnight, March 11th. So you have a whole week plus 12 hours to change it. All right, going back to the form, to the website, we wanted to make sure you knew about the electives catalog. So that is the last tab there on the CHS website. And some of the highlights might be for some of you, the performing arts classes like musical theater, theater production. There will be auditions and interviews later in the spring that we'll share with you. So if you want to take these courses that have auditions or interviews, you will get that information here at El Roble. Don't worry, it will happen. We want to also share with you the world languages that we offer at CHS: French, German, Spanish. I talked about the Heritage Spanish, more information there. And is there any electives that you want to talk about? Questions you may have about electives? Any ones that I should look over? Yes. Computer science, great choice. All right, that would be under math. And computer science is offered at Claremont High School. It could be your elective next year. So we would definitely love to see that our students are taking computer science. We have computer science at Claremont High School, and we also have IB computer science, which could be available for you in junior year or senior year. All right. Our time, we have until what time in this period? Thank you. 10 minutes. Okay.
Just wanted to mention, because I know we briefly talked about summer school, we do offer a limited summer school for incoming 9th grade students. If you go back to the first page of the counseling website and you scroll down, you're going to see summer school. This is what's offered for 10th through 12th. Would not be offered for you. Then we have this form here. You will go through there and you're going to see, I think, 3 courses: ethnic studies, PE. By taking PE, it does not waive you out of PE for 9th grade. It only gives you the opportunity to take 10 additional PE credits, so you don't have to take PE in 10th grade. And then the other course we have, I think it is a mental and behavioral health.
Yes.
All right. Now, it's mental behavioral health. If you are in the NYP program and you want to make room in your schedule so you can take an additional course, an additional elective course, this would be the option to take during summer. All right. This option will work as well, but it's highly encouraged MYP students to take the ethnic studies course during the summer, then you do not have to take the ethnic studies course as an elective during the academic year, and you can take something else in its place. So if you're in band, or if you're in the theater program, or if you wanted to take an art course, or if you wanted to do something else besides the social science ethnic studies course and you're in the MYP program, you can take it over the summer and it's going to make room in your schedule so you can take that additional elective course. All right, so very limited summer school offerings at CHS on our campus for ninth grade students.
All right. And if you're doing MYP, you could do your ethnic studies course in summer school to create extra room in your ninth grade schedule too. That's another option if you're interested in that. Going back to the CHS website, again, please try to attend tonight's webinar. The webinar link is right here. And also there's a webinar link there where by March 4th with the passcode. The CHS website has a lot of information for you, both for planning ninth grade year and kind of giving you other information about Claremont High School. Our jobs as your counselor is to help you graduate on time. That is our #1 goal, but we also are preparing you for life after high school. So here's an example of the graduation requirements. We're talking about those tonight. The college requirements, college admission requirements. We use the framework of the CSU admission requirements to give you a background on what it takes to get ready for a four-year college, because they largely mirror the college admission requirements throughout the country. And then the NC2A might be of importance to you if you see yourself playing sports competitively in college. If that is part of your goal, you need to tell your high school counselor that, so that we can make sure you have the proper amount of courses to play sports in college, like Mr. Anderson did.
And on that note, since we're talking sports, I just want to go back to the website so I can show you the athletics website so you can get the seasons of sports and you can get that information. I said, very important for any of you who plan on playing a fall sport, because it's going to start sooner than later for you. So if you go to athletics here, you can go to the sports website. Once it loads.
It's happening. Almost there.
Lots of information on that tab. All right, so you can see all the upcoming news, the latest, and all of that there. There should be a top tab that
Yeah,
is not loading.
it's not. It's,
it's coming.
Yeah, it's been a little glitchy today. All of the website has been.
See some of the great things that our athletes are doing.
Oh, sorry. Team schedule. Like today, there's boys tennis versus Alta Loma, 3:30, varsity golf, boys varsity track. That's just this week. And then some news. And at Electives Fair, we anticipate our athletic director to be there about sports, Mr. Anderson?
Usually they try to invite the teams to send two current players over to get information out and get sign-ups. So like I mentioned, if there's summer programs, they try to get students your name, your email, and info so they can get it back to the coaches so they can start sending that out to you. But on this website, it's not loading, but you'll be able to click on the seasons of sports and you can see what sports things are offering there. One of the things when you are on campus, we have a daily bulletin. We have a Wolfcast. So they will announce, hey, baseball tryouts are happening this week. Make sure you're available. Make sure you have your athletic clearance. You come over in cleats, pants, whatever they need. So you have to listen up for those tryout periods and those dates so that you don't miss anything as well. Same with clubs. We'll have Club Rush. We want students connected and we want students involved. We have over 80 clubs at Claremont High School. So I think it's the second week of school, we have the Club Rush where they'll set up tables out in Central Quad And it's a 2-day event where you can go around from table to table and you can get information on clubs, when they meet, what those clubs are about. So our students are really engaged. Our students are really involved, and students who are involved, engaged in school, are more successful and have a better high school experience. So we want all of you to fully experience all of high school. We want you out to dances. We want you out to sporting events. We want you in clubs. It's not just all about that academic piece sitting there at that desk. It's a 4-year period that we want you to enjoy and be involved in the school community and the activities that we have there. So questions, because we have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Are there any questions?